Hello, and thank you for joining me for the second episode in Shaping Our Region. In the last episode, I was joined by Julie to talk about Boudica and how she nearly defeated the Romans. That episode is now available as a podcast. In this episode, I'll be looking at the Great Estuary and how this region was formed and the forts that guarded it from any potential invaders. This whole series is my quest to learn just a little bit more about the region I live in. Now I'm going to take a little visit down to the forts. I'll see you there, but before then, just a little bit more of an explanation about the estuary itself. At the start of the Iron Age, the Norfolk coastline was very different to what we know today and around 1 mile further east. The Broads were peaty marshland crossed by the Yare, Bure and Waveney rivers. But around 2,300 years ago, the sea levels began to rise and broke through the spit of land at the Yare Estuary that we now know as Great Yarmouth. As the rivers met with rising sea levels, a great estuary was formed. To the north of the estuary, levels of the Thurn continued to rise, which then formed the Isle of Flegg with its many Viking settlements. During Roman times, ships were able to navigate as far as inland as Caister and Edmund and Bungay. At the northern and southern edges of the estuary, in Caister and Borough, forts were built to secure the approaches, with another fort in Brancaster. It wasn't until 1500 years ago that sea waters started to fall and the estuary silted up and the sandbank grew to where Great Yarmouth lies today. All that remains of the Great Estuary today is the tidal inlet of Breydon Water. And here I am at Caister Fort. Now this fort would have sat right on the north bank of the Great Estuary. Now there's not a huge amount to see here, but what we do know is that it was a very large garrison where families and soldiers and sailors would have lived alongside each other. Some of these walls were 175 metres long, housing all sorts of different people. Built around 200 AD, it lasted nearly 2 centuries before the Great Invasion. Now just behind me, you can see just along that kind of hedgerow there, that would have been the edge of the sea. That's where the boats would have been moored up and ready for action should there be any kind of invasion. Just before the hedgerow there's a big V-shaped ditch. Now that essentially formed part of the moat or the motte, where any potential raiders would have got stuck and absolutely hailed by missiles and all sorts of flaming things. There's lots to take in here. There's not much to see, but you can really get a feel for the place. You can really kind of understand what went on here. Now what we're going to do, we're going to head down to the south of the mouth of the Great Estuary to have a look at Borough Castle. I'll see you there. And now we're here at Breydon Water. So just in the background there, behind the marshes, is Breydon Water. Now that would have been a vast open space back in the day of the Great Estuary. But now it's reed covered, beautiful piece of water just to the south of Caister Roman Fort. Now just up here, up the hill, is Borough Castle. Let's go and have a look. So here we are now at Borough Castle. Now this was built around about 60 years after the Caister Fort was completed to defend the southern part of the Great Estuary. Now Rome sent 500 of its finest horsemen to garrison here for what would have been around about 100 years to defend the Saxon shore from the ever impending doom from the Saxons, the Angles and the Frisians. So we're going to have a little look around and see what else we can find. And it's here for around about another century that the Romans effortlessly defended the Saxon shore against the impending invasions from the east. Now, come AD 365, the threat became a little bit too much to bear, so the Saxons then took over, where they ruled up until around about the time of the Danelaw, when the area went over to the Vikings and then the Norman conquest thereafter. And it's from these walls here that every 3rd of July, it said a haunting figure, what appears to be wrapped in a white flag, is seen to be leaping or thrown off these walls with a shrieking sound. Well, that's the end of my trip around the Great Estuary. Thanks for watching, and please look out for the next instalment on the shaping of our region, where I'll be looking at the formation of the Broads and a few ghost stories from within. Thanks for watching.